Hello, Mario. Land Surveying 1, Session 2, Work Safe. This is the second session of our Land Surveying 1 course, and today we'll just be introducing the topic and having a bit of a look at the first assignment, the levelling assignment. So, well, let's get going and have a look at what we've got. So we'll just go to the full screen mode, and then we'll move on through the initial PowerPoint. So first up, I think that's first up. Yes, we will. This is our session plan. So as you know, each session has a 2-hour tutorial in the CAD room, which may precede or come after the actual practical. So it's probably a good idea, if it's coming beforehand, that you maybe should be watching this video. Although I will give an introduction. I will give this introduction live at the start of the tutorial, 2-hour tutorial. So essentially in the 2-hour tutorial, we will obviously sign the roll and make sure find out who's there and who's away. It's very important that you attend these sessions, as you do get a bit of a lowdown on what's happening, what has happened, and there can be sort of changes to the program and stuff like that, so we've got to be very careful about. It's also where I hand out the hard copy versions of the documents, so it's pretty much a good idea to be there to get those, or certainly you should be letting me know if you're not going to be there, and by all means, if one of your friends is going to be there, get them to pick up the documents on your behalf so that you have them. So that's the handout, the documents, and then we're going to do a little bit of an intro, which is essentially going through this PowerPoint that I'm looking at here now, and looking at Moodle updates and things like that. And then that should only take 20 minutes for me to go through that, but it can be longer, and today we possibly will have a look at the assignment as well, although the assignment will be done as a separate briefing. It won't be part of this intro at this stage, and then with the remainder of the time you can work on topic tasks under my excellent tutelage, where you'll have me there to ask and help you with things and work things through that you might be having problems with. So remember, you're doing the flip teaching model, you're doing the study at home, which involves reading, watching, having a go at things, and then you bring your problems to the tutorial and the practical sessions for that matter as well. Now there will also be a practical session, and in the practical session we're going to be doing some levelling, and that's going to take place out over by the survey container and in the flat sort of sports area by the surveying container from the end of G Block across to Perry Sports House in that grassy area there. So that should all be good. Alright, so that's the plan. And then next up, the key learning outcomes. So these are the expectations for today's little effort as to what you should learn. Okay, so you should do a 2-peg test, and that's done to check instrument collimation. It's a really quick and easy check that can just make sure your gear's done right and everything's going good, and we'll talk some more about that. You should have completed a double run levelling run. Now this is just a method that we used where essentially every mark gets, we do a measurement to each mark, which enables us to determine a value or a height above sea level for that mark. And then obviously if we do it twice, we can check one against the other to make sure that we haven't made any mistakes. So you should have recorded and adjusted levelling data. Today's topic is work safe, so the emphasis is on health and safety, and so you should have completed a job safety analysis, and we'll also be taking a bit of a look at some teamwork concepts, or well, I would expect you to be having a look at those, and we, if time permits and it's appropriate, we may just do a little teamwork exercise. Okay, all right, so moving on, the simple survey context. So today's simple survey concept is a level, or what we call any level, optical level, laser level, digital level. All they do is they define a horizontal plane. That's all they do. You look through the level, and it, hopefully, if it's collimated right and you've done your 2-peak test, it gives you a horizontal plane. Now, using that plane, then you are, as a reference, you are able to measure, using the staff, 5-meter staff, you're able to measure above and below the plane, and that gives you the difference in height between, well, can give you the difference in height between 2 points, or the height above the horizontal plane as defined by the level, things like that. But that's all the level does. It doesn't do anything else. It doesn't measure heights above sea level. It doesn't measure the difference in height. The level defines the horizontal plane. You, by looking through it and with reference to that horizontal plane, are able to measure difference in height between 2 marks, essentially. And then the cumulative differences in height, they can be accumulated. So we have what we call a setup, and at each setup, the first reading that we do is a sighting to the what we call the backside. So typically the backside is a point that has a known height above the vertical datum, whatever the vertical datum might be. So it might be sea level, which is the usual one, or it might be an assumed datum. An assumed datum that we've given a value of 100 metres. We give these assumed datums values of 100 metres because we don't want negative numbers. So if we gave it a value of, say, for instance, 0, and it was a high point, any points below that would be negative. And dealing with negatives can be very difficult, and we get lots of problems. So a level defines a horizontal plane. That's all it does. No more, no less. All right, now assignment 1 is a leveling assignment, and we'll go to do a briefing on the assignment, and I'm going to do that as a separate video, and in class I will probably do that separately as well, but that would come up, so we'll probably go through this introduction and then go and do the give you the briefing on the leveling assignment, which I might add that all of the information that you collect from today's session and the previous day's session, all sort of in some way, shape or form will form part of that assignment. So it's important that you keep all your information. Everything's a keeper. Just remember, everything is a keeper. All right, so now let's moving on, and let's just look at health and safety. A little bit about health and safety. Now here we have a graph. a graph of health and safety deaths per 100,000 person in years. And we can see here that New Zealand leads the world. We lead the world. Yes, folks, we're the best. We kill more workers than any other country. Less people go home after work in New Zealand than anywhere else. Here we go to work and some of us don't go home. And that's the whole point of health and safety, in a sense, is to make sure that everybody goes home. That we go to work and we have a safe working environment. It's extremely important. I don't want to be in the position where I have to go to the parents of one of you guys or your partner or whatever and say, I'm sorry, but Stu won't be coming home today. We killed him. You know, we ran him over with a tractor, or we electrocuted him with power lines. Sorry about that. You know, it's just not that easy. It's very difficult for everybody. So it's imperative that we have health and safety in place and that we treat it with respect, the respect that it deserves. So in New Zealand, health and safety is essentially the guts of health and safety in New Zealand is about hazard identification. We identify the hazards and then we manage those hazards. Identify the hazard, manage the hazards. Now there's 3 ways of identifying the hazards, and these are in, you know, best to worst. The best way is to eliminate the hazard. Obviously, if there's no hazard, eliminate it, that's fine. But that is one of the hardest ones of all to do. If we're working under power lines, we can't make the power lines go away in a lot of cases. Well, we can, but it's very expensive. If we're working sometimes in a hazardous area, such as, you know, like a petroleum installation or something like that, we have to do what we can. We can't make the hazard go away. We've got to work in the area. We can do things to isolate ourselves from the hazard. We can put fences around it so that we can keep away from it. We can measure from a distance rather than close up. So the next one obviously is isolate, and that means the hazard's still there, but we can fence it off or distance ourselves from it. And then finally, the least one, well, the one that we can do is we can minimize. We can take all possible precautions to make sure that a problem doesn't arise. But we've still got to work in and around the hazard. The hazard's still going to be there. We just have to be very careful. So if, say for instance, we're working in a petroleum sort of installation or a gas installation, we might sort of wear very protective clothing, full flame-proof clothing. We might have a gas detector with us. We might even have a spotter with us. We have various things on place. We might not be able to take our cell phones and watches and things like that, anything that can cause a spark. So we minimize. And these 3 words, in terms of surveying and this course, if you're doing anything with health and safety, you should be looking to incorporate these 3 words in the answer anytime you can. These are the money makers. These are what get you the marks. So Be very familiar with these. Eliminate, isolate, and minimize, and in that order. So that is the guts of health and safety. So now let's look at Moodle. So to look at Moodle, what we have to do is we have to just get out of PowerPoint and go to Moodle. And here it is. Here's the Moodle. This week we're looking at work safe here, and here it is here. It's in the tabs here. So this is last week's topic, surveying 1. This is work safe here. Remember, over here is assessment, which will go and look over there, and you'll see that you've got your levelling assignment there, and we'll do that as a separate briefing. The course diary is here, which under assessment, which we went through last week, and there's a bit of a briefing there if you missed if you missed that. But this week we're on work safe here. So these all follow a pretty similar pattern. So here's our session plan that we've had a look at. Here's our session notes in here. I'll just turn the editing off. That's just something that's there. And then here is the session 2 checklist, and that's a little sheet here which gives you all of the things to do step by step, and then you can go through those and tick and date each one, date each one as you complete it, and make some notes and things like that for submission. So that's pretty little checklist there, so you know exactly what you have to do, and one of those will be made available to you in the packet of documents that I'm handing out here today. So here's some things, lots of things here that you can do. Some video, or watch a video and work safe, and fill out the worksheet 7. Watch some video on workplace accidents. Now what I recommend that you do is you watch the read the worksheets first before you watch the video, so you know what you're going to look for. Ideally, remember that these worksheets, they're all given to you in PDF. The ideal thing is that you get used to using PDF functionality and get these filled out in a nice and tidy manner. Right, now the next one is a job safety analysis, and this is a thing that we can do on jobs to see how dangerous, and look at ways of identifying the hazards and managing the hazards. So it's a bit of a process that you might do as a management person. It's not done every day. Your usual health and safety stuff is always filled out, but this is an analysis thing of health and safety. So if you have a particular job that you're expecting someone to do, you might work through it step by step and just note down what they do and what probably things are. And so by way of an example, I'm asking you to look at a situation that you're very familiar with. Say for instance, you might be like mowing the lawns, or doing the dishes, or washing your hair, or dyeing your hair, and all sorts of things like that, and then you analyze that. Exactly what do you do? And you analyze it in quite minute detail, looking for hazards, and how then you can manage the risk with those hazards, the risk of those hazards causing accident or injury, or even death. So we need to be very careful there. So that's the job safety analysis. Then there's some exercises on surveying safely, and although I've put worksheets here, these are actually spreadsheets, so you can download the spreadsheet and type the information into the spreadsheet and print that out, and that is my preference. I'm trying to introduce the digital technology and the use of spreadsheets in many different roles as part of that. So my strong recommendation is that I'd like you to use the spreadsheet and get used to and familiar with Excel. So there's one there is the top 10 survey hazards. So the spreadsheets should just be a matter of clicking on that and then going open and allow, and that should bring the spreadsheet up. It downloads from the site, so you need to enable editing and save it to your flash drive or wherever you save things. I recommend that you do have a flash drive. There's all sorts of little quirky little things that can happen with this, just like here. I don't know why that is, but I'm sure that we'll work it out. These are downloadable. You might have to there might be something that you have to do there to get them to work. We'll try this one here, like so. Open and allow, and then it should download, and still downloading. Having a few. Oh, here it is. So that one's working. Enable editing. And that's where I think I had the problem last time. Possibly not. So you probably need to save that to your. I'll try this one. Probably need to save it here. Allow, and then it comes up. And then save it, so as a file, save as, browse. I'll just save it to the desktop. Here we go. Up. Keep going up. Up this PC, desktop, okay, save, and then it's available for editing. So that might be a better way of doing it, because you can't edit it in the Moodle one there. So that's the spreadsheet there, and that's pretty much it. Each of them has little videos and things or resources associated with it. The next thing is, yes, these are the family statistics that we've looked at, health and safety, and this is now the hazard ID form here for our hazard ID that we will be filling out. So health and safety, so graphic health and safety documentation. So this is how to fill out. I've got a video there, and we'll have a team health and safety manager as we go out onto the site. Remember that each person has a turn at being the health and safety manager. So the health and safety manager wears a green high-vis jacket, and the other team members wear an orange high-vis jacket. So that's all pretty good. Here's our hazard ID form here, available if you want copies. This one, usually I've got a new one now that's got health and safety manager written up there, which I will hopefully update at some point. Here's one completed form for 2014, So this is what a completed one looks like. Everything's finished out. The activity, some things there. Now down here is the sequence of events. So this is the stuff that you plan to do. So they were going to locate some, place new marks, do some leveling, okay, and then you identify the hazards that are associated with it, remembering that there's a list of hazards, different types of hazards that you're going to use. So you've got them there. Oh, you've got the with the health and safety documentation, you have got a list of hazards. Oh, well, this is in the new form. You've got the list of hazards there, but these are some of the possible things that you've got there as well. So this is an older type form. In the newer form, it's got it a little bit easier for you for the sample one. So health and safety 200 for as the 2014. But there you've got some. You've got to do finder diagrams. So here you've got some HCC benchmark finder diagrams, some examples of finder diagrams, and you will see here with the finder diagrams how they've got distances from fixed points that are largely going to be there in a few years' time when you come back to find the mark. It's no good measuring a distance to a rubbish tin that someone's put out for the day, or to a parked car or something like that. You go to power poles and marks that are going to be there when you come back. Remember, the guiding principle with finder diagrams is that a person who has never been to the site should be able to, with your finder diagram, locate and identify the mark. So it's important that you tell them what the mark is. If they go to this position and the mark is an iron spike and they find a bronze plaque there or something, then they will know that is the mark's changed, or it's not the mark, or they're looking in the wrong place. So that's quite important. Okay, and then I've got some videos on optical leveling, an exercise on staff reading here, how to read a staff, an exercise on looking through a staff font, and you have to note down the measurements. Note that when we're reading a staff, we read to the nearest millimetre. So every measurement should have a single digit followed by a decimal place and then 3 numbers. 0.317. So we measure to the nearest millimetre and we estimate the millimetres. So if we look at this one here, that would be 4.3, and that's 122. 4.322, and I'm estimating the millimetres. So that's 0, 1, 2, and then that's about 2 millimetres out of 10 there. So 4.322 for that one there. Okay, so that's staff reading. And then the exam questions, which relate to today's work. So here's the exam questions here, and you'll see that they some more staff reading there, and then some written work all about what you've learnt about in today's or this week's session. Okay, and then that brings us to the practical. And in the practical, you will be doing a 2-peg test, and this tells you all about the 2-peg test. There's a particular form for you to fill out. Here it is here. Okay, like so. Control 0. So that's the form. Now, you would fill out where the grey is. They're all the ones that need to be filled out, and then some there and some notes there. So It's the grey area, and it's important that everything gets filled out. So this is for the 2-peg test, which we'll do some further explanation for that in the field when we go to do that, as well as there's videos and some double run leveling examples all there. And then here's our practical tasks here. So practical tasks will comprise of health and safety documentation, with one team member being the safety manager. 2-peg test to be done here, double run leveling here, and then another diagram of a different mark drawn in here, and then these are all to be signed off by the tutor to show that you've done them. Now I've got a little thing here called team words, and that's a little team working exercise that we might do a little bit after this briefing. Just we'll see how that goes. So that's the practical task. So that's pretty much Moodle, although I would draw your attention, health and safety documentation here, that's the hazard identification form, and standard operating procedures here, which is what each hazard is. So that's in there, standard operating procedure there, and here's the hazard identification form. So this is the updated one. I showed you the 2014 one there previously. So now you can look at overhead wires. Okay, so sequence of events, you might write that down in here. It might be leveling. Well, that's what you're going to do. Overhead wires, are there overhead wires? Yes, you'll circle the overhead wires. How are we going to deal with those? Well, just the normal, as in standard operating procedure. Or if you've got some new one, then you'll detail what you're going to do over here. So, and we'll discuss this some more when we get out in the field. And we've got our PPE. So I've listed the main hazards, but there may be others that you can add down in here as per what we've shown you previously. Now there's also in here teamwork, and in the teamwork tab, here we go, we've got successful strategies for teams. Now this is a great little booklet that you should really have a look at. It goes through, it's quite a lot of pages, but they're quite easily read, and it goes through a briefing on teamwork, what's involved in teamwork, how teams operate, how they form, how they function. So I'd really recommend that you read through that, as it gives you a lot of tools and things to become a better team, or to understand how a team works. I can't sort of read it for you. You need to just go through and become familiar with the various stages of team building and what have you. But it's a great little resource for teams, and you need to be aware of that if you're going to have a pleasant team experience. And it gives you little forms and things that you can use for your team meetings, and that type of thing, which we will all be looking at as time goes on. So yep, we'll just go back onto that there. All right, teamwork, and a little bit of a file there, team tools file. So these are some resources on teamwork that would be most helpful for you to look through and decide what it is you're going to do, and what have you. I don't know why that's there, but team tools file, it's taking a little while to come up, but nonetheless it is there. Okay, having a few little problems there, but we can see how they are. All right, so now let's get back, I think, to let's look at Moodle. I think that's probably enough for Moodle at this point. So we'll go from the current slide and continue on. So teamwork, as I said, I made some little things there about teamwork, and we're going to have a bit of a look at that. And now that you're in Teams, we need to just work together on this, and maybe just review the teamwork material for this session, and then we'll start to look at some ways that we can bring our teams together and manage our teams, perhaps using some flip charts and things like that. So some very strategies for teams, why we do it. Together everyone achieves more, and none of us are as smart as all of us. So essentially what we're saying there is usually the team will outperform the best individual in the team. So this is the strength of teamwork, is that we get the collective intelligence or the collected skills of everybody in the team. Regardless of who is in the team, everyone can add something to the team, provided everyone does their best and pulls their weight and helps everyone else out. So, and we're going to have a look at that with a little exercise perhaps a little later on. So here's our simple survey concepts. Remember, a level defines a horizontal plane. That's all it does, nothing else, nothing more. Everything is relative to that. So at this point I think I'll stop this briefing. It's just going quite general. It's gone on for 37 to 40 minutes. And then we'll flick over and also have a look at assignment 1 as well. So as you can see, there's quite a lot to do, been quite a lot to do in this briefing, and we're slowly gathering momentum and moving forward with our work. So I'm going to just finish up my briefing there. It's gone on for, as I said, for almost 40 minutes, which is considerably longer than what I had anticipated, and I will be doing a bit of a briefing on the assignment. So this briefing here gives you a little bit of an idea of what this topic is about and what I will be saying live in the classroom. So if you happen to miss the class, this video will be of some help and you'll catch up on what it is you missed. So let's call it quits there, and we'll stop recording. So cheers, see you.